Today on the Great White Shark Experience podcast, we have Elton Polly. The owner of GoDive Mossel Bay, Elton has years of shark diving experience from running the White Shark Africa Internship. Now, Elton has started his own program that brings the fun, excitement and life experience of the old program and added scuba diving so students can leave with formal qualifications. Today we talk about diving in South Africa, along with some of the mishaps that have happened along the way. Elton Polly, welcome to the Great White Shark Experience podcast again.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back. I've been keeping up with him. It's some interesting stories coming out.
There's been a few, and you learn interesting things about people that you've known for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, that you'd never.
And then you're like, wait, what?
What?
Eric? Especially Eric. I mean, come on.
Eric's one was a blast. Yeah, people love that one.
Yeah.
And Alan as well. To be fair, there was a few little hidden.
I don't think I've watched one yet that I didn't enjoy, or I didn't learn something, or see, like something happened that was like, wait, what? That's weird.
There's people that we've known for such a long time, and
Yeah.
No,
I think awesome. It's probably to do with the beer. Like all the juicy stuff comes out when you've
as soon as you have a few
drink.
swigs of drinks, that's it. It loosens the tongue, doesn't it? But yeah, no, I was gonna start this podcast by saying you're one of the people that actually was there in the beginning when I first came. Yeah. And the diving side of things was what hooked me on South Africa. So during my first month, we ended up going to we went to Aliwal Shoal, and then we went to
Sodwana Bay. How was that ride?
So just to give some context, I got set up. I got stitched up.
Well, I mean, you agreed to everything. Nothing was done without your consent.
It wasn't out of consent. It was just there was.
Well, you're lucky.
Not mis-sold, but
lucky you never got drawn into the Mozambique trip. That was interesting.
Can't wait to hear about that one.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, the first Sodwana trip, you'd crashed your bus, or your dad had crashed your bus
into a cow.
Into a cow the week before. So
Rural Africa.
Africa on the same trip, but then we had to go with John, didn't we?
Right. Yeah, that was it.
And you told me the boot was really comfortable.
Well, the boot was really comfortable for like 4 minutes. I was also very claustrophobic.
Yep.
I fell asleep and woke up in the fetal position, not being able to move and not knowing where I was. And I was like, oh my god, please don't panic. So okay, guys, you guys, anyone want to switch? It's awesome back here.
Can't breathe.
So then Mark gets in the back.
He comes out, he stretches, he goes, oh, I had the best sleep in there. Who wants their next turn?
My oxygen levels were so low at that point, I was about to pass out.
Delirious. Yeah.
Very funny.
So yeah, basically the bus broke down. We go in John's car, and there's 5 adults, all squeezed into this what do they call it?
It's a Audi. It's a sedan.
A sedan car. And then obviously we've got a 22-hour journey all the way up to Sodwana.
Mistakes were made.
Sitting there side by side just wasn't going to be feasible. So we all tried to take turns in the boot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. It wasn't terrible. Except when John drove and he hit every single pothole. At one point, I was like, hey, John, I think you missed 3 potholes back there. Let's go back and get them. Every single pothole.
Yeah. His car was destroyed. His car was destroyed.
He needed new shocks, new tires, new suspensions, everything. His whole car had to be redone after that trip. Yeah. But it was nice diving.
It was an absolute phenomenal trip. Turned out to be one of the best diving trips.
Who was on that one?
Me,
Ewan,
Sierra,
John,
and
the 2 of us. Yeah.
It was an epic adventure. Trip. It was a huge adventure. And then we left our car with the car guards. And then, coincidentally, every time we came back, the tyres were let down.
Right.
And we had to pay them to go get the tyre pump.
They saw us coming.
We had tourists written all over us.
Yeah. That was my first trip to Sodwana, I think. Maybe my second. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was definitely hooked off that. But you've had, how many dives have you done up and down? How many trips have you done up and down the coast now?
Sheesh. I think, 2012, I probably did my first one. And then I did every single month up to Aliwal for 5 years. So, and each time was 4 dives. There's a lot of dives. That's
probably when you ramped up your numbers, eh?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it was training and stuff, but mostly I'd say Aliwal. Aliwal is definitely the most exciting diving.
Yeah, it's one of the best dives. It's in the top 10 dive sites in the world.
Were you with me when I got a concussion?
No.
And then still went and did the deep dive.
I wasn't even. So tell us that story.
Where were you then? You went back. You were away.
I think I was away somewhere. Yeah, missed that trip.
Well, I mean, we jumped on the boat, about to go out through the surf, and there's like a bunch of people on the boat. Some people we don't know, and then like our intern sitting on the other side, and not skipper error, nothing wrong. Just all of a sudden, this one wave just stood up right in front of us. Like I was even like nobody was braced for it, but when I saw it, I was like grabbed. And the skipper had no choice but to like kind of motor through it. But the wave had already started cresting like this, and we literally got bounced backwards. So everyone was kind of bracing for one way, but everyone went flying the other way. And this one guy that was sitting next to me, I don't know if it was my fault or his fault or both of us or nobody's, we cracked heads together. And like instantly, I just see black, and then slowly start getting color, and then I can start to hear voices again. And then like by the time I was actually out, like sitting there with my feet in the foot straps, I was out, and like people were looking at me. My eyes were open, but I couldn't see or hear anything. So like a proper rugby tackle concussion. So I look at this guy and I was like, geez, you bleeding? Like, oh no, actually I felt my own head, and I was like, blood. And I was like, I'm bleeding. And this guy's like, no, I think that's my blood. And it was his blood. So anyway, horrible thing. I instantly got a stiff neck. So boat circled around a few times and then beached again. And then this guy obviously had to have stitches. He was bleeding a lot. Yeah. And I was like, do I have to get off? And the skipper's like, no, you can come with if you want, but I don't know if you should be diving. I was like, yeah, I'll take my chance. The thing about this dive is it wasn't just a regular reef dive or a shark dive. We were going to the produce to dive the wreck.
Yeah.
So it's a deeper dive. You don't get to dive it very often.
Just what you need on a concussion.
Had been great. So I was like, I'm not missing this. I'm getting on the boat. And it was like 20 minutes later, we were backward rolling off the boat. And actually, I felt fantastic. I really felt good on that dive. It was, but when I got out, I had this big egg on my head, this big cut, like, and then the sore neck. I couldn't moving, but yeah, a lot of fun.
Not advisable.
Don't try this at home.
Does that sound as I do? Yeah. And then you also got hit in the face with a shark on. I missed that trip as well.
That was fun. Yeah, you went on that one.
No.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun too. So basically, we also in Alawal diving, and I think I was free diving with one of our students at the time. Nat was obviously, she was down there waiting, so she dropped down on scuba, and then by the time I got back to the boat, put my scuba on, got back down, she was like kind of like saying something's wrong, and she wasn't too happy with the dive master at the time. He was, I don't know, maybe just a little bit a little too friendly with the sharks maybe, and reaching into his bait drum a little more than he maybe should. I don't know. So anyway, we all kind of like got this semicircle going around the bait stem, which is the normal setup for that dive, and I saw him reach his hand in and take out some baits. Normally he would like mash it really fine, not really feeding the sharks, but just to get that oil and start attracting. So this one shark picks up on this and it just turns, comes straight on him. Nice and slowly, but it's not turning off or anything. You can see the shark's going like towards all this bait in his hand. So he obviously sees this and he turns his back to the shark. And as he does that, his fin just like nicks the shark's belly. And I think the shark maybe got a fright or something, and it shot off. And I was like right in front of it. My GoPro and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. The shark hits the GoPro, hits into my face, knocks my mask off, knocks my rig out. I was like, I didn't even know what had happened at that point. I thought I'd been bit. I thought the shark had bit me like on the face or something. So I like, first of all, feel like, yes, everything's still there. And then I was like, okay, I need to find my mask, put it on, go to clear it, and realize I have no breath left. So now I'm like feeling around for my octa, get my octa in, finally take a breath. If you watch the video, it's like it took a long time for me to like get everything back together and find everything and eventually clear my mask. And as I clear my mask, I see that like the dive master's right in front of me. Nat's over there, her mask half full of tears because she thought like I was dead.
From the inside.
I was like, what happened? And I was like, it was you.
It's on YouTube, eh?
It's on YouTube, yeah.
The whole video, watching Elton get hit in the face with a shark.
It's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It's quite scary at the time, but and looking back, mistakes were made. Definitely shouldn't have been like that in close on the sharks as well. Close, yeah. Guy obviously feeding them is not a good idea. So yeah, a lot of mistakes, but we learned from it, and yeah.
I was going to say you've had
on the next round.
I'll learn from your mistakes. I was going to say, when you actually look back and tell the stories of like all the diving adventures that you guys have been on, you can't believe some of the stories that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I can't even remember most of the stories. Like as I'm telling a story, I'm like, hold on, there was this other time that something similar happened. Like, and yeah, there was like a bunch of times at Alawal where you left thinking like,
how did I survive?
What just happened? the one, and I think I've got footage of it as well. Yaku was diving with us, and not Yaku. Yaku's dad took us that time. Intern called Lexi and another one called Jennifer. So we were all diving around the bait stem. It was at the end of the dive, so it had been at really like 50, 60 minutes. And I was looking at the dive master in front of me, and behind him was the bait stem. One of those days where we actually had a tiger shark on that dive. Beautiful viz, blue, like 20 meters, like awesome, warm water, lovely dive. And at the end, I'm like looking at him, and I noticed the bait stem just starts falling down. What had happened, the buoys on the top, the shackle between the buoys had broken. So now the whole chain, the bait stem, everything just like starts going down. And if you know, all those dives that they do there, it's normally like between 25 to 30 meters depth.
Yeah.
So this whole thing goes cascading down. Dive master was facing us, watching us, so he didn't even notice that it had happened. But Tinas and I had seen it, Yaku's dad. So immediately I was like, I told Tinas to get his attention, and I just start like following down, because we couldn't even see the bottom. That's how deep it was. It was 20 meters viz. We couldn't see the bottom. So I went down like halfway through the water table, and I got like a fix on it, and I was like watching for them to come down. Eventually we end up on the sand, and I was like, hold on, like, how's my air doing? And I was like, lucky I have like pretty good air consumption, so I still had like, let's say 70 or 80 bar. I was like, okay, it's been an hour of diving. We've been 14, 15, 16 meters for an hour. Now we're at 30. Now we have 70, 80 bar to get back. My computer is not going to like this one. So I was like, okay. So anyway, everyone gets down there. Now we're trying to work out the best way to pick up the bait stem. And what we should have done is gone and all taken one point somewhere near the top of the chain and gone up a little bit, inflating our BCDs, and then just controlling.
Yeah.
What we decided to do, which was probably not the best idea, as the chain was laying along the bottom, somebody picked up that point, somebody picked up that point, and somebody picked up that point, and thinking we were going to swim up with it like that. But obviously, the weight of the chain just makes everybody sandwiched together. So now, I'm holding the bait rod because it's the heaviest part, and I was like, yeah, I can take it. And he's holding like a piece of chain, and he's got the second bait drum, which is the plastic one, not that heavy. So I'm there, and I'm like starting to fin, but at 30 meters, you're pretty negatively buoyant because you waited for like 15. So add a little bit of air to the BCD, everyone starts to add air, we're all kicking, and there's just plumes of sand coming up, nobody's going anywhere. We're like, hold on now, so inflate a little more. Eventually we start to get this lift now under control, but everyone's kicking into everyone. We like literally
bouncing off each other.
Off each other. My GoPro was still recording this whole time, so it was like filming, and then as we start to get higher, the little black tip sharks start to come back, and they're like circling in between us, like we this much space between, and the black tip sharks, and then I'm realizing like, why are these guys coming so? Ooh, it's the bait drum I'm holding. I was like, you want to switch?
I'm tired now. You hold this.
And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, hold on, we had a tiger shark on this time, so now you're trying to bring this thing back to the surface, but you're also like watching behind you the whole time. So yeah, the whole time computer starts beeping. Obviously it wants you to do like a safety stop and maybe a decompression stop at this stage, but we couldn't really. We were like all running really low on air.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, why didn't we just leave it there? Like
it's a bait
just,
drum.
Yeah,
chain and a plastic drum.
Yeah. Well, we removed the ocean plastic that
there
day.
We go.
Esther,
you're welcome.
Oh. We did get a nice crisp high five from the dive shop owner that whose bait drum we.
And Barry's like, yeah, that cost about 200 rand to make.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
We just left it.
Yeah.
What a risk.
Makes a fun story.
Yeah. It's a good one.
And we've had Nikira on, Emily, and Esther and Lynette as well, and they're all up in Mozambique.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we definitely need to do a Mozambique trip soon. That's going to be.
We need to do that. Yeah.
That's going to have to be on the cards.
Mozambique's another whole, like, so many stories from there, but it's good diving.
Yeah.
It's good diving, and you know, like a lot of people come from the Caribbean and stuff. They come and dive here, and they say they love it because it's wild.
Yeah.
When South Africans go to Mozambique, we want to go there because it's wild. So yeah, it's wild.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Whales,
you
manta
never
rays.
know. So
you could see anything on a dive.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like talking about diving. When we went to Thailand, it just felt not.
Well, that's where I learned to dive initially, and
Koh Tao, hey.
Koh Tao, yeah, and it's obviously it's one of the biggest places to learn to dive. Understandably, it's clear viz. There's very calm conditions, like everyone tends to go there because it's cheap as well.
Yeah.
But like when you come here, it's a different ball game, isn't it?
It really just feels like you can drop into the water and see almost anything.
It's like
anything could happen.
A genuine safari, but under the water.
Yeah.
And
you know what? Like a lot of people say that, the viz isn't the best and stuff. Yeah, it's not really.
But
it's not the best. But you know what? Then it's wondering what's 10 meters away from you. That's
that thing you can't. That shadow.
What did we do this morning? We went shark cage diving at Seal Island. Where are we now? Like less than a kilometer away, and there's 4 meters visibility. It leaves a lot to the imagination. Let's just say that.
You see the shadow and you're like, I don't want to know what that is.
Oh, that reminds me of this one instance. We were busy working out a way to safely put a cage down to change receivers for the researchers, and we couldn't quite work it out because just some of the challenges were you can't drop a cage down and hope to drop it where you've dropped the receiver, because even though you've got the GPS coordinates, they're only accurate to within 10 meters sometimes. And if your viz is 3 meters, if you drop it here and it's 10 meters that direction, you've got no idea. So you can't stay in the cage the whole time. It's kind of like drop the cage, get out, go and search around, and then get back in. So that's kind of how we were. So we dropped this cage down, get all the way down to the bottom, and we don't find anything. So protocol was to re-drop the cage the second time, hopefully on a closer thing. Did that again, and it wasn't working. So I said, okay, well, we can get to the bottom, get out. We're going to do a buddy line. So one diver swims off into the distance, and the other diver holds onto the cage just to keep our bearings, be able to get back to the cage quickly if possible, if needed. And we start to circle the cage in like a expanding circular search pattern. So the idea also is that if we swim past the receiver, you'd feel the line snag on it and then be able to come back. So you can do a nice long circle from your, like the initial circle. So we did that. We dropped the thing down. The other diver gets out and he holds onto the cage, and I'm like, I'll go. Take the end of the buddy line, and I swim like probably 15 meters away. Spear gun in my one hand, not loaded obviously, just like a prodding stick. GoPro on the end, busy filming. And I'm like swimming around, and I'm like feeling, and I'm looking. The viz was like maybe 2 meters. It was really, really bad. Cold water, green, middle of winter. And Justin and a bunch of the researchers were on the boat. Now I'm busy like doing my first circle, and then I don't know if you've ever been laying on the beach reading a book or a paper or something, and a cloud goes and covers the sun, and you get like that dark shadow kind of thing. Yeah. So that happened to me, and I was like, sometimes it does happen when you're diving. You do get that like dark kind of thing, but I was like, that's very
too
weird.
Dark.
And as I look up, I see this massive tail go like swooshing past me, and but the tail was massive. I've seen a lot of white sharks, and everything looks bigger underwater, but this was massive, and I was like, I'm gonna die today. They're only gonna find like my arm attached to the buddy line with this spear gun maybe, and the rest of me is gonna be gone. So I'll like yank on the buddy line with the communication system, like pull, which means something's not right. Let's get back in the cage. Let's get back to the surface. So as I'm pulling and I'm starting to swim back along the buddy line, I hear the boat start revving its engines, continuous revving, and I'm like, okay, that's their signal for get the hell out of the water. There's something around here. So as I get back into the cage, other divers already obviously back in the cage. I get back to the cage, and now I'm like, do I try and risk it and just keep swimming and try and get in, or do I like so I'm like everything going through my mind all at once. Get back to the cage, climb up, get back in. At this point, like the divers, the boat starts pulling us slowly back up. Obviously, we worried about decompression sickness and not being able to equalize properly and all sorts of things. So they're pulling up very slowly, and I'm like, it's seeming like hours. I always want to know what the hell did we see. Get back to the boat, and as I like take off my mask, I'm like, did you guys see the shark? And they're like, did you guys see the whale? It had just been a whale, big southern right whale came right over my head. And now thinking back, it kind of did seem like it was moving more in an up and down motion. But at that point, with 1 meter visibility, it's dark, it's scary. You got a spear gun in your hand to fend white sharks away.
And this was like, Seal Island?
This was like, just halfway to Seal Island, It was scary, But what had happened is the whale had actually swam into the ropes that were holding the cage. So the boat kind of like jerked, and everyone was like, and then next minute, the whale breached out of the water like a little distance away. So they knew it was the whale. Yeah. I had no idea at the time. I was like,
nearly died
Speckles, black girl, you've come for me. You finally come for me.
Today's my day.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. No, there's definitely been some stories over the years.
Lots of fun.
But you've survived.
Yeah, and then so far so good.
and then after, so you started by running the White Shark Africa Internship, and now you started your own.
Yeah.
The GoDive Internship.
The GoDive Internship, and so much fun. Giving all my interns this same experience.
All the mistakes you've made, you've learned from, and you've passed on to them.
But this is super rewarding. I think this is actually what I've wanted to do. I didn't know it at the time when I was setting this all up, but now having it all in place and everything's working out, this is definitely like the way to go for me. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And we've got a really great team now as well. Obviously, Katie, Lee, Conrad, everybody, the whole GoDive team.
They've been doing
team is
an amazing job. Yeah. And you kept it going through COVID as well, which was the amazing thing.
In fact, I feel like we came out stronger at the end of COVID than when we went in. It just taught us to manage your money a little better. Get rid of the stuff that you don't need, focus on the things that you do. And I think there's a lot of business actually came out more stronger at the end of COVID than before. So
it's a weird one though, diving. You would think that's the first one to dive. Tourism industry, bodily fluids, you're putting things in your mouth and it's everything that you would think COVID would destroy. And
on the one hand, but our argument was that when you're breathing off scuba at the bottom, having filtered the air and everything that's the safest air you can breathe. Nobody's coughing on you down there. It's just don't get in an out air situation where you have to give your DV to somebody.
Don't have air. Oh well.
Well, yeah. So
no.
But the training was pretty bad because as COVID was starting to lift, our interns at the time were starting to come back, get into the water again, and we actually had to change our teaching techniques. Instead of donating an octa that's been in somebody else's mouth, you now need to train with you got to make some adjustments.
So what does the internship what do you do? What do students do on the internship?
Well, basically, it's kind of a combination of the old White Shark Africa Internship, all the good bits from that, and at the same time now you can actually earn meaningful certifications that can take you through a marine career. So, for instance, before, you would come to the White Shark Internship, you would have the time of your life, you would learn how to collect data on the White Sharks, you would learn, you would spend time at SAPREC, all the really cool things, the life experience things. But when you left, you didn't really have a qualification. You had experience, which could be put on a CV or a resume or something like that, but you couldn't really say, well, this is my qualification. But now, having combined the two, you can actually get a dive master certification, or if you're the right kind of person, even work towards instructors. And those are things that you can use to apply for jobs on the yachts and apply for marine biology jobs. A lot of our dive masters that have qualified with us have actually gone on to use their degrees in their field. So that's really nice. It just feels good knowing that they've come here, they've spent quite a lot of money to do it, all the flights and everything is quite expensive, but they've come here and when they've left, they're in a better position than when they got here. So that's kind of how it's worked out. And and the activities are pretty awesome as well. Who doesn't want to go diving every day collecting data on nudibranchs, or who doesn't want to, or
scuba diving and great white sharks? You can't really beat it.
You can't beat it. It's a winning combination. I
was going to say it's probably one of the most value packed. There's obviously people who come for marine biology and things like that, but value wise, the GoDive along with White Shark Africa has the highest value to walk away with.
Right, because let's say you're into white sharks. Where else in the world right now can you go and see them?
Yeah, Guadalupe's closed. Australia's not very consistent.
Every now and then, Gans Bay, they get one or two. Simonstown or False Bay, it's been quite a while. These are regular, accessible, reliable.
Even on the worst, we had the worst shark year last year, and even then, it's still better than pretty much anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Even though you have to wait maybe a few weeks before the white sharks came back at that point. Luckily, they're consistent pretty much every day now, which is good.
And the nice thing about it is, we do have very consistent white sharks, but we also have trips going out every single day. So it's not like you're waiting 4 or 5 days to get out there to see if there's a white shark. There's always people coming in wanting to know, are there white sharks? And we want to take you. We want to go and find out. We want to go and
we want to see them,
And how's that shark at the island now the other day?
Yeah, we're back at the island. That's going to make it so much easier.
Yeah.
Going all the way to Clanebrack. I mean, we say going all the way to Clanebrack, but
which is only a 20-minute ride.
Half an hour ride or 20 minutes, half an hour. Yeah. Everybody else has to go out for 5 days. And it is insane. And we really do take it for granted. We don't, you don't know how lucky you are. Well, none of us know how lucky we are. And it's only when they disappear for a while that you realise.
That's how,
they could go at any point. But
that's true, But I think what we hear today, the orcas are back at Gans Bay, so I wonder if they heading down this way again.
They could be. I hope they're not, but I hope they just go up to Namibia or maybe go past through to Mozambique or something. But we don't need them back for a while.
Yeah. Well, definitely not now for our winter season, because if the sharks can come back to the island, we can get the seals hunting. I mean, the sharks hunting the seals. breaching and all that. It'll just feel like the
Mossel Bay again.
Yeah, like the heyday.
Yeah.
Like when you would go out and like on one morning you would see like, let's say 8 attempted predations, 4 breaches, like, and now it just feels like almost like a story, like a myth. That
They keep popping up on my feed and my YouTube. All
your memories, your memories, and
all your natural predation clips as well, which is another one that like got some of the like best. Well, news flares absolutely banking on your clips.
I need more though. It's like you can never get enough.
Nope, that's
never
it.
Get enough. It's like, and this whole last year, we've been watching these little seals swimming in by themselves. Phones out, nothing happens. Gets back to next one, nothing happens. The shark activity has been down, but now that they're starting to come back to the island,
there's definitely more moving in now.
Yeah,
we're seeing different sharks.
The other thing about the island is that we were there like maybe 10 days ago. We tried an island trip, and I still noticed that the seals were very like swimming around, not bothered with anything. They were all little lone seals swimming around. But now, when we went the last day, I said to Eric, something looks different at the island now. The seals are not just swimming here. They're all like clumped up around the island. They're all like getting into big groups, and they're all leaving.
Yeah.
And they're going in straight lines, and they're heading straight out to the deep, and they're moving quickly.
Yeah.
And when they come back, it's the same thing. But and then all of a sudden, after an hour and a half of chumming, massive. Well, I would say massive, but it's much bigger than the
bigger ones
sharks.
we've had. Yeah.
Nice 3 meters.
We've got some bigger ones moving in now. We had started off as like 1.5, maybe 2 meters. I can't wait to see
which of our like regulars from the previous years are going to come back.
I hope there's some bigger ones start to turn up, especially
June,
July.
If Speckles could come.
Speckles. Yeah. That's Helen, isn't it, from Discovery?
Yeah, that's right.
She's a beautiful shark.
Yeah.
I hope she's still here. I want some of the old ones like Kelly Callie and Dottie and those trips when you dropped anchor and within a minute there was sharks.
Sometimes you don't even get a chance to finish your cage briefing. You're standing up there talking to the clients, trying to explain, and then the shark comes around and you're like, not yet. I still need to explain the rules. And the minute the shark comes, you can say what you want. Those guys are not paying attention.
Nope.
They don't know where they're allowed to vomit and get seasick. They don't know that the snacks in the cabin are for them. If the shark comes around early, they'll be asking you 100 questions, and nobody was listening. Everyone was like leaning over the side of the boat with the phone.
Yeah. And that was when you puking in the toilets all over the place. Yeah, there are the pros and cons. It's the best job in the world.
Those are still better than the ones that sit there in the cabin looking green. You're like, hey, you should get some air. You should go outside. You go, no, I'll be fine. Next minute, the vomit in the pocket, the vomit in the hand, the vomit in your friend's bag.
Trying to catch it in the hands. Right. That's it.
Everybody's favorite, eh?
Yeah. There's those days though where everybody on the boat's seasick and you're just like, yeah, we probably should go back, but the sharks are pretty good.
That's kind of I would say that's one of the worst feelings. Is like everyone's done, everyone's ready, and you pick up the cage and you head back, and there's still white sharks circling because it just feels like unfinished business.
Yeah.
And you know that tomorrow you might come out, you might not get one. So and now you're leaving them. You should be
make the most of this opportunity.
Cherish this thing because who knows. But the absence of the sharks for so long has definitely made me appreciate them more now on the days when they come really quickly or we have good action. Obviously, the clients don't really have anything compared to. So let's say they get a shark around, it swims one past the cage. It's 2 or 3 people saw it. They're still excited about it.
They've seen a great white shark.
They've seen it, but they can't compare it to a different experience where there was 7 sharks around the boat. There was like always a shark in front of the cage, and it lasted for 2 hours of constant views.
Yeah.
These guys got one view. These guys got constant views for 4 hours. You know,
and
they're still so excited. Everyone's still so excited.
Well, we've had a few clients that have come on the boat and they've been on before and they've had 8 sharks and then they've seen 1 shark and they're still super excited. And it's just the chance of seeing a great white shark.
A white shark's one of those animals you can't have a look at it like in the water, in the wild, swimming around and not be excited about it. It's they are just that charismatic. They're just that intense.
Yeah.
I love doing what we do.
It's heaven, this place, isn't it? Mossel Bay.
Yeah. And I mean, a desk job would be nice, but this is...
You say that. Yeah. Well, it's not a bad office.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, very good. So what's on the cards for the next... So you've got Sardine Run coming up.
Sardine Run's coming up, yeah. We've just started finalising our plans and our bookings. I think that's going to be the first week of July.
Yeah.
Until the 10th of July kind of thing. So we've got 10 days booked. In that time, 2 different groups. One starting on the first, one starting second. It's going to be Port St. John's again. It's going to be with Blue Oceans.
Yep.
And it's going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. I've missed it now since COVID, I didn't go, and from COVID till now,
Yeah.
obviously with Livy just being really young and stuff,
Yeah.
I've decided not to.
Not to.
Last year we were in the States. This year, it's
picking up again.
time.
This is it, adventure time.
Really, it's really excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see whether the trips will probably kick off again, and
And we also got quite a lot of bookings for interns over this summer, which is going to keep us nice and busy.
Yeah.
Hopefully Lee and Katie can make it back out here.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to be here.
I'll never leave. Hook, I'll be clawing at the door frames trying to get me out. But no, it's pretty epic.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
But yeah, so anyway, it looks like a good 2023 coming up, and yeah.
If the Sharks play with, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you very much for coming on the podcast again. Awesome episode and super interesting, and we'll do it again soon.
Let's do it. Cheers.